name is Jules and you have joined me for a draw with me. So all you need to do is get out some paper and some pencils and some pens and we'll have a look at drawing something. I did a bit more research on the internet and I discovered people really want to draw dolphins. So we're going to have a go at doing some dolphins today. This is what we'll need. To draw the dolphin, we're going to need a pencil, an eraser and some black pens. Now I've got my drawing pens, but if you have any kind of black felt tips at home or a biro or something like that, then you can use that. Or a very thick black pencil. So to draw our dolphin, you've got to think about lemons. Why lemons? Well, you know when you cut into a lemon sometimes, you cut it across so you've got a big circle and then you cut that in half. That's the sort of shape you're going to need for our dolphin. It looks a bit like this sort of shape. That looks a little bit like a slice of lemon, doesn't it? So that's the dolphin's body, and of course they have a fin coming out the top like that. Now you might say that doesn't look much like a dolphin to me. Well, you just wait. What he needs is a mouth, a beak like that. Still not looking like a dolphin? Let's give him some fins. That's the nearest one and that's the furthest one. You can't quite see that. And then of course he's going to need a tail. Now the thing about his tail is that you see one side of it more than you see the other. So you have to draw it like this. And then put your middle, instead of the middle being here, move it up a bit towards the top one and then draw a swoopy line and a shorter swoopy line that side. And that makes it look like he's jumping out of the water. And an eye. Okay, now you might be thinking this still looks like a bit of a weird dolphin because he's so flat across the bottom. But of course what we can do when we're drawing with our black lines, we can smooth that out a bit. So let's find the right pen. I've got quite a thick one. And I'm going to draw his mouth first. He's got a little smile. And now we come to the tricky bit where we need to draw it more curved. So I'm just going to bring that down a little bit towards that fin. Draw the fin in. And then curve it a little bit towards the tail again. That's looking a bit better, isn't it? Swoopy line, short swoopy line, and back again. Now, instead of just drawing a complete curve like that, I'm going to shape it ever so slightly flatter. Like that. And draw one eye. And of course his other fin. And he's got lots of splashes coming off of him, splashes of water. So you can draw drops of water like this. Maybe 2 in one go. And some more coming off his tail. What else does he need? I think he needs a pupil. And because he's got all these splashes coming off the back here, we could have him looking at that. So his pupil is going to be over this side of his eye. Like that. Now what we need to do is leave this for 5 minutes to dry, and then when it's completely dried I'm going to rub out the lines. So I've got here some Crayola Super Tips pens, and they're washable pens, so that does mean if you accidentally get them on something you didn't want to put them on, you can wash it off. Now I'm only going to use this one out of this pack, but I've also got a different pack that's got a different blue in it. So if you've got another blue, that's great. If you've only got the one, don't worry, you can still use it. I'm just going to start covering this whole area of his body with the paler blue. If you use the pen on the side rather than on the tip, you'll find your ink goes a lot further. Okay, now I'm going to show you something that you can do with some marker pens, and these ones you can use like this. So I've taken the lids off of both of my marker pens, and I'm going to use the paler one to start with. I'm just going to colour that area, but whilst it's still wet, I'm going to put a little bit of the darker one in, just in that corner, and then back with that pale one again, go over it to blend it in. You do have to work quite quickly with this before it dries completely. But then it looks like that's the underside of his body, that's the shadow part. It's quite clever that, isn't it? Shall we do that with the droplets as well? I'll show you again. So the pale one to start with, and then a bit of the dark one I'm going to do down the bottom there. Pale one again, just go over the top of it a little bit, and you can start moving some of that darker pen around. Let's just do one more like that. Pale, dark, pale, and then you're sort of dragging that darker ink upwards a little bit. And then I think the other ones, the top ones up here, I'm just going to do pale, but I'm going to leave a little bit of white in the middle to show that there's a reflection, a bit of shine. And then I'm going to leave a little bit of shine on this one, and I'm going to do some of that blending. Okay, so there's our dolphin. Now the only thing is, you can't tell at the moment what he's doing or where he is. So I think perhaps we ought to put in a little bit of sea. Okay, now I'm thinking that maybe we ought to put a little bit of that blending along that underside of his body. So I'm just going to wet it again with a bit of that paler colour, and then just along the very, very edge, a bit of dark, and then blend it with your pale colour again. Let's see how that looks. Pretty good, okay. And then the same down here. Wet the paper just along the very edge, and then blend it. Now the only thing that's missing, I think, is he needs a few cute little teeth. So I'm going to use my fine pen, and I'm going to do some rounded little teeth. And because they're not sharp and spiky, makes him look friendly. And then the very last thing I'm going to do is around his pupil, I'm going to put a bit of that darker blue to give him a bit of an iris. And there you have it. Now, don't forget to sign your work.